If you tell a really good story, you're going to have people's attention.
Oh, hello there, and welcome back to the Wild Business Growth Podcast, presented by Hippo Direct. I'm your host, Max Brandstetter, digital marketing dude at Hippo Direct, and this is episode Sweet 16. And our guest today sounds pretty sweet in music form and on podcast form, if I must say myself. It's Drew Ford, also known as ThatViolaKid on the interwebs here. He is championing classical music in the social media era, and he is absolutely blowing up on Instagram and YouTube. Hear his wild story that spans from the Juilliard School to working with rappers to recording for video games. You'll hear how he established social media presence and what you can do for your brand or your business or your personal brand to build an audience and maintain a devoted following on social media. And you'll hear a lot about storytelling and why it is so important and what you can do to get better at it. So without further ado, let's hear him tell his story. Enjoy the show. Alrighty, I am here with ThatViolaKid for a very special musically sound, rather extra musically sound edition of the Wild Business Growth Podcast presented by Hippo Direct. TVK, as you're known for short. ThatViolaKid, how are you doing this morning from bright and early out in LA?
I'm good, man. My nose is kind of stuffy, so I apologize in advance for the weird sounding voice.
Oh no, you sound very very full of love and energy, and we're just getting morning glow, exactly. Yeah, but we are getting to allergy season. I know the feeling, and it's just that stuffy kind of year. But on that stuff note, let's talk about some cool stuff on this podcast. All right. So,
good segue, dude. That was clutch, dude. You just pulled that out of nowhere, man.
Thank you. Yeah, all sorts of crazy stuff here. Get ready for it. But but ThatViolaKid, quick shout out to D-Rock, Gary V's number one man, real quick for connecting us. We actually now worked in the comments on Instagram. I left a comment on D-Rock's post, and you found me, and I was looking for interesting creative and business stories out there, and I looked at your profile and I was just blown away because you've done so many cool things, and really you're championing classical music in this modern era. I know you want to be the Neil deGrasse Tyson of music out there, so I think you're aspiring for some really cool things, and you've just done some amazing things already. But you are obviously very good at viola, and I think you've picked up a thing or two about social media along the way, as you have a huge fan base on Instagram, YouTube, and more. Before I reveal all of your secrets, do you mind?
Oh, snap!
Do you mind saying firsthand, give our listeners a little bit of intro about who you are, sort of how you got started, what sort of school, hint, you went to, and and what you're doing today?
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. That's very kind. It's funny. I began playing viola when I was 12 years old in middle school. I'm a product of public music school education, and I'm a champion of it. So I'm trying to build this empire, trying to build this building as big as I can so that I can have enough power to really emphasize the importance of arts in our society. Because yes, I know it's important to build businesses, and it's important to create infrastructures and build the economy, but at the end of the day, if we were all going to disappear tomorrow, what would be left of us? Would it be Uber? Would it be McDonald's? Would it be Walmart? No, it'd be our art, it'd be our movies, it'd be our plays, it'd be our music. That's what would be left. See, art is what it means to be human. It's a personification and the preservation of what it means to be human. And that's why it's so important. And so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I think that a lot of people are losing sight of that, especially when it comes to the mainstream. It becomes about the bottom line. Even the music industry itself is very much a business and not really always about the art. And I think equal parts commerce, equal parts pushing the art forward and telling a human story is what we really need. So I didn't really discover that when I was 12 and I picked up a viola, but it's something I've come to the realization. So back to 12 years old, played it, yada, 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 practiced in orchestra. Everybody was like, nobody practiced in orchestra. So I was like, oh, okay, I want to get better. I just want to get out of this orchestra and play better music. So I practiced a lot, did really well in middle school, did even better in high school, graduated, went to, decided to major in music, studied viola performance and Spanish at Mercer University. Went to a very small conservatory there. It was really incredible. It's called the Robert McDuffie Center for Strings. Can't recommend it enough. It's like a program of about 25 students, but it's tiny, tiny, tiny. I was one of 5 violists. So we,
Wow.
yeah, man. So we had studio classes. We had a great teacher. My life kind of changed when I went there. And so after I finished my 4-year undergrad degree there, I auditioned for the Juilliard School for my master's degree, was accepted, and then I finished that. And I did that up in New York City, and I remained in New York City for about 4 years. So I did my Juilliard thing, stayed in town for 2 years afterward, did a lot of traveling, and then I realized that I love social media. I loved reaching people, and I saw how efficient it was. It's like word of mouth on steroids, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, let me get over to LA where the creatives are, because like I still think, I've a really big idea of what I want to do. I do want to be the Neil deGrasse Tyson of music, but I think that I still have to refine my product more when it
Hmm.
comes to social media. So I came out here to learn more about how to be a more polished influencer, how to create higher quality content, and hopefully find collaborators that would be willing to see the vision with me and help me build it.
Yeah, that's great. And you've had such a journey so far. And even as you mentioned, from across the country and so many different
Oh
places.
man,
Can you
yeah. Go ahead.
can you talk a little bit about Juilliard in particular and what that was like? How grueling of a process is it applying and then actually getting into the Juilliard school? Because it may be a little bit competitive for you musicians.
It's like the year that I was accepted, they only accepted 7% of all applicants.
Oh my
So,
God.
yeah, and it's been lower. It's been a lower percentage in recent years because, when I did get in, it was like a big turnover year. Like they accepted a lot of people because a lot of people had graduated the year before. So that was actually a
Right.
pretty 7%, like getting it. So, okay, so here's the deal. It's different for undergrad and masters,
Right.
but for Juilliard, what I had to prepare was a entire concerto, all 3 different movements, have it memorized, prepare a full sonata. I could use the music for that. I had to prepare a full Bach cello suite, all memorized. So that's about 6 movements, unaccompanied. So there's no piano. It's just, oh God, it's just you. And then I had to prepare a piece that was written after 1980. So something contemporary, something avant-garde, if you will. And so I did that. And so what you have to do is you have to send in a pre-screening tape as well as an application that has like a really big essay. And you have to write the essay, you have to fill out the application. That took me about 12 hours or so. I was home for Thanksgiving break and I procrastinated. I was like, fuck. I was like, oh man, I really got to get this stuff together.
Yeah.
And on top of all of that, on top of the essay, on top of the application, you have to also prepare a pre-screening tape where you submit pretty much almost the entirety of the repertoire requirements. You have to record it and then you have to upload it to an online portal and send it all in as a package. And then they may invite you for a live audition. And in that event, you fly to New York, do a 15-minute audition for about 9 different judges who are all teachers there. And it was the longest audition of my life. It was the hardest audition of my entire life, but it was also the best audition of my life because I'd really
Right.
spent a lot of time and invested in preparing for that. So I was really pumped when I got the email. I remember I was in my dorm in Mercer Hall And it was like in the morning. I was checking my emails that morning, and all of a sudden I see an email that says Juilliard acceptance status. I was like, ah! Okay. So I click on it, and it said, "Good morning, Drew. We will be letting you know your admission status at 7 p.m. this evening." I was like, I hate you
Oh
guys.
my God. Yeah. So
I
that was
can't
probably an easy
believe
day
you
for you.
got me. Dude, I got worked. I was like, I had a moment. I had to take a couple laps around the room before I opened that email. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we don't have it per se, but we will in a couple hours. I was like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
so I got
You'll
to
know
go
in
through the
time.
whole day. I got to go to class knowing that I might not get in. Thanks. Great. Okay. so, so yeah, that's what happened. But then, got the email later, opened it, and I was like, oh, it's real now. Now I have to move to New York City. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm a Southern boy. I happen to live in the big city, and now I'm in LA. I'm on the West Coast, just going all over the place.
Wow. So you're hitting all the biggest cities and the cities with the biggest airports with Atlanta.
Yeah, man, Hartsfield Jackson, don't mess with it, dude. You want to get some food at Hartsfield Jackson? You can.
You never have to leave there.
No, you don't have to, dude. Just get on the train, man. Get you some
Wow.
Panda Express.
So that was your experience getting in. I'm sure we could do a whole separate podcast, a whole separate interview about your time at Juilliard. But for
Yeah.
the sake of time, is there any one moment or memory from attending Juilliard that sticks out to you as the most rewarding or most memorable?
Not one moment sticks out, but one sort of element, and that was my studio class.
Mm-hmm.
It was a studio class where we had studio class. Generally, what that is it means your teacher, you study with a particular teacher or a couple of teachers at a conservatory, right?
Yep.
And then once a week, they get all of the students of the teachers together in one place, and they play for each other, for criticism, for performance practice, for all of that. And I think every studio class, and I regret because I got really busy. I didn't go to as many as I should have, but every studio class that I went to was incredible. The people were amazing. The feedback was incredible. It was great to see my friends grow over those couple years.
Right. Yeah.
And we all kind of started getting it. We were all trying to figure out this viola thing, but it's so interesting how something you could be struggling with could be something someone else is struggling with at the same time. And then in a studio class, a teacher that you don't even study with just says one thing to you, and it flips a switch. And then all of a sudden you're like, I get it. I get it. And you see the person get it. And then you standing there watching them work it out and figure it out is so valuable to you, because then you're like, oh my God, I could do that too. It's just so, it's so essential. And there's nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Yeah. Right. Can you say that again? I'm just kidding, but wow,
I can get my rapper ad libs down, man. I'm experimenting. I'm throwing them around.
Yeah, TVK.
Yeah.
That's really special though, and we might need to do a separate blog post on all of this advanced music terminology, because I'm already blown away by the different. What you mentioned, concerto, sonata, Bach. I've heard of Bach before, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man, I have to give you a master class.
Exactly. Cool. All right. Well, we're forming business ideas here.
Yes, sir.
I'm curious about your transition after. So you graduated from Juilliard. You're probably, flying high. Sky's the limit. There's so many different directions to go in the music world, especially in these days where it's, music is everywhere. There's so many music platforms. There's so many good ways to consume music and watch videos. How'd you make that transition from Juilliard to the quote unquote real world out there and real music world?
Well, it's interesting. It was super gradual because classical music is so niche.
Mm-hmm.
It's really difficult to leave. I have a lot of friends who still, especially they play early music. Like there's just no application to to modern society, or maybe there is. It just hasn't been discovered yet, and
Yeah.
so ready for that. But I mean, I guess Postmodern Jukebox could be a really good equivalent. Are you familiar with them?
No, I'm not.
They're a group that does incredible covers of music that we all really know and love, but they put like a early 1900s feel to it, like jazzy feel to it. And I can
Oh,
imagine
nice.
them using maybe some Baroque instruments as well to get a really interesting flavor and color. They're incredible. I have friends who tour with them and everything. They're huge. But
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check them out.
yeah, you'll have to check them out. They're dope. Shout out to Postmodern Jukebox. Logan Evan Thomas, the keyboardist, is a really good friend of mine. He's dope. Anyway, enough for the shout outs, but like what's really different about pop music is when you transition from Juilliard, you transition from a place where everybody is like really, 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 really solid and has really concrete music ideas. And then you go into pop music, and then a lot of people care more about image, style, flow. Like the art doesn't really matter as much.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really interesting to go on the flip side and see. Okay, so intrinsically, whatever I play is good. It's like fine. Coming from conservatory, I was like, I'm garbage and garbage and garbage. I'm bad. I know how good I could be, but I'm not there. But that doesn't matter when you leave the walls of Juilliard. Like people think you sound good. It's nuts. It's just like this cognitive dissonance that I'm now starting to realize. Like
Wow.
I am okay at the instrument. Like just when you're surrounded by gods all
Right.
the
Yeah.
time, and you're like, man, I don't play like that. Or if you watch like the people at the top of the industry all the time, you
Right.
start to believe that is the norm. That's
Mm.
not the outlier, right? Like everywhere is a Juilliard is what you kind of start, because that is your world. That is where you live. And then when you leave, it's like, oh, people don't even know what a sonata is. You know what I mean? It's just like,
I know. Well, my first thought was it was my first car, so that was
oh
my
yeah,
first.
A Hyundai
Hyundai.
Sonata.
Yeah, I still
Yeah,
don't know how to say Hyundai. I
Hyundai.
know how to say Sonata though, so that's all that matters.
Hey, you know what? You're winning, dude. All it is, dude. Pretty much, sonata is a form of music where you have a theme, it gets developed, and then it comes back. So pretty much the modern pop music genre, like the verse chorus, is based off of sonata form. Like
Mm.
it's the
Okay.
same. It's the same thing. It's just been evolved. It's just very. There's something humanistic about it, about creating an idea, developing the idea, and then coming back to the idea. It's classic story structure: exposition, climax, resolution. But it's just reflected in music, and so it's just a
Yeah.
musical form, pretty much. I
Wow.
love
I'm
sharing.
learning. I'm taking notes. I'm writing music notes here. Yeah. It's taking me
Dude,
back.
it's not a form, man. It's dope.
Taking me back to my strings days in fourth grade.
Oh wait, did you
Shout
play?
out. I
Did you
did.
play?
You're gonna kill me, but I played the violin.
No, it's all good, dude. We just
No,
can't
I'm
be
just joking.
friends, but no, it's fine.
No, I played from fourth to seventh grade, but unfortunately
Okay.
didn't extend beyond that. But I messed around with guitar and drums a little bit, so it's kind
Okay.
of done some different things. But it's kind of one of those things. I got sucked into the business world and
Hey.
part of away from that music. But I still, I'm looking at my guitar right in front of me, and I'm reminding myself that I need to play more and more because it's
Yeah.
just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man. And I mean, honestly, so you do know the struggle when comes to playing a string instrument.
Oh yeah.
Having to
Yeah,
pull
I
your
mean, probably a
bowstring.
little bit less than you do, but yes.
It's a struggle to sound
Right,
even to have a clear sound. It's so nuts.
right.
Why is it so
Yeah.
hard? But so what I learned though, leaving Juilliard and going into more of the mainstream, is that number one, I am good enough, and most
Mhm.
people are good enough. People don't really care whether or not you're slightly imperfect in your tone or your texture, your intonation.
Right. Yeah.
They care more about the feeling, they care more about the intent. And that is incredibly freeing. So it's like kind of a process of figuring out, okay, so how do I remain motivated to keep improving and keep moving forward and keep getting better, while also not getting crippled by good enough, or trying perfection. You know what I mean? Not trying to be
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Just trying to get good enough, move on, good enough, because people, they want content and people want things to consume. And so if you spend 40 years trying to perfect your vibrato, I mean, yeah, but what, nobody got any content for 40 years. Now you got perfect vibrato. Was it worth it? No. I think it's like the law of diminishing returns is very, very much alive in music. And so
Yeah.
growing as a part of the documentation process is important.
Right. Yeah. How do you do that these days? Like when it's a social media post or when it's a song you're recording, how do you make sure you're focused and don't get too held up with perfectionism and having, the perfect piece of content or music out there?
Okay, so it's different with music that I release. I've only released one single, original single, because that's how I'm like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
it's so hard. But what I would say for social media, I think it's less about polish and more about authenticity. So, like, if you
Mhm.
look at my posts closely, sometimes I have typos. I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, because if you edit the post, it destroys your priority in the algorithm.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The technical side of things. Right.
Yeah. So what's really crazy is, like, when it comes to content and creating things, I try to create things that tell just a minuscule, like a snapshot in the narrative of my story, of like my day.
Yep.
It's so funny. I've never told this story, but there was, when I was in New York, it was 2014 or 15. I can't remember. It's like my first year in New York. And I'm on this date with this girl I met through a dating app. And we go see a movie or whatever. And I liked her a lot. I thought she was really cool. She showed me a video she had on her phone. It was about 5 minutes or something. She made a video where she recorded 1 second of her day every single day for a year.
Oh.
And I watched it, like, we were waiting for the movie, and I watched it, and I was just this is like before March 2014 or something, or
Oh,
2015.
wow. Yeah. Was the internet around then?
No,
Or was that-
I hadn't started my YouTube channel. Like, this
wow.
moment
Yeah.
really inspired me to do my YouTube channel and start
Hmm.
sharing my life instead of
Yeah.
trying to curate, document instead of create, because I felt like I knew her, watching her year,
Right. Yeah.
previous year, just 1 second in each day. I saw her birthday. I saw her get injured. I saw her recover from her injury. I saw, like, it felt
Wow.
so intimate, but it was
Yeah.
just 1 second. And then that kind of baked my noodle, because I was like, yo, there were like tens of thousands of seconds per day that I just never saw. Like, what was the rest of the story? And I got so much story from one snapshot. Wow, if I share a snapshot of my life, maybe people could feel as poignantly connected to me as I do to her. If I'm just authentic, if I'm just raw, if I'm unafraid. So that's kind of what inspired me to really start, being more personal when it comes to when I post on Instagram. Instead of trying to just get laughs, or instead of just trying to meme, like, actually just sharing a perspective or a lesson that I learned,
Right.
and just being more authentic. So,
Wow. Shout out the
yeah.
dating app. Shout out dating app mystery girl number
Yo,
one. So,
hey, she broke it off too. I was like totally
uh,
into it. She was like, "No, I don't want to.
oh man.
I'm not really into you." Okay.
Sorry, man. I hope
Started
you
from the bottom. Now we're here.
right. Yeah, exactly.
I
But
can't. So long. I don't care.
yeah.
Hi, this is Greg Brandstetter, founder of Hippo Direct. Has all this wild growth talk made you hungry for some new customers? Well, here's your recipe for success. Hippo Direct can help you acquire new clients using proven methods such as postal mailings, email marketing, and targeted ads on Google, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We can even create a customized leads and prospecting database for you. So check out hippodirect.com and contact us today.
I want to dive more into this beautiful paradox you have of covering classical music
Mhm.
in the modern social media era, because it's
Mhm.
really, really cool. And I think it's super disruptive, which, it's so hard to be disruptive these days.
Yeah.
When did you decide that classical music was going to be your big sort of platform and the thing that you were going to
promote and embrace and create a culture around with this play homie play hashtag that you've got.
Thanks, man. Well, it's always classical music from when I really kind of started till just about earlier this year. Classical music was the only thing I cared about, really. Like I was so focused in on it. That and video games, because I want to be a gamer and I want to be a professional gamer in maybe a few decades. But esports is going to be is coming. So, and I'm like, well, I think I need to do this music thing while I want to travel and do all this other stuff. When I'm in my late 40s, early 50s or whatever, I'll transition.
Right. Yeah. Real quick on that. What are your thoughts on Twitch? Because it's
I'm gonna start a Twitch stream. I'm gonna start a Twitch show.
Yeah. Official? Is this official announcement?
It's yes, very much official. That was a big reason why I moved out to LA.
Wow. That's really, really cool.
Who's a good streamer, and I just want to help him with this stream. I want to learn about it. I want to spend the rest of this year just trying to figure out what the show will be.
Yeah.
And then move forward.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It seems like a really perfect fit for you. It's a couple of your passion areas and you're obviously comfortable on camera. So it should be
fun.
It's blowing up.
It is, dude. It is because of esports. But I think other things like classical music can really find something, or not even just classical, just music. Because I'm a hip hop artist too. So I'm like trying to build my skills there. So that'll be a great place to do that. Also, as we all know, as people who follow Gary, you got to have a pillar piece of content in order to atomize and be more consistent in competing. And because like now it's like there's a lot of people producing a lot of good content, a lot of it, like 3 or 4 posts a day kind of, and I can barely post a couple times a week, you know what I mean? So because I've pigeonholed myself into creating really high quality content, and it's like I don't have 3 hours today to find the right picture and edit it and stuff. Like I'm not gonna have
it's always a trade-off.
Find the caption. Yeah, dude. It's just it's so much work.
And how about, so you've kind of blended it because you just mentioned it, that you've done some work in the hip hop space. You've started doing some rapping of your own, which I love your video, by the way.
Thanks, man.
And I know that you've, rest in peace, but I know you've done some work with Mac Miller and some other hip hop artists.
Yeah.
What, can you, I don't want to,
it's okay.
I don't want to make it way too somber, but can you talk a little bit about sort of that experience and your hip hop production experience?
Yeah, man. Well, just a little bit about Mac. I've been listening to his stuff. Just every time I'm in the car, I'm just bumping his music ever since. And he's like, he was the quintessential artist, because if you listen to his music throughout his career, it's always changing. It's always evolving. It's always growing. And that's why he never fell off. He never fell off in terms of that. Like, he was never like a Cardi B or like a Drake or anything. But I think when it comes to the culture, he was always pushing it forward. He had his own unique sound. He had so many different flows. And I think that's something people never gave him credit enough for. And there's actually at the Greek Theater out here in LA, they're doing a tribute concert to him on Halloween. And I was trying to get tickets, but they were copped up by those bots as soon as they went.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So like, they're several $100s.
Wow.
Anderson .Paak, everybody's gonna be there, dude. Like everybody's.
Yeah, he's the man as well. Yeah, and Max. Yeah, I was thinking, because I hadn't listened to him in a while. I listened to some of his early stuff and it had been a while, and then I listened to his latest album, this year. Yeah. And it was so good, and I was blown away by the quality, by how good it was, but also to your point, it did sound a lot different than a lot of his earlier stuff. And was thinking,
there's a lot of jazz influence. Really I think he's been listening to a lot of jazz. He was listening to a lot of jazz. You know what changed my life though, in my perception of him, because typically I had only consumed him through his albums and through his radio releases, right?
Yeah.
But have you seen his Tiny Desk concert, dude? It's nuts.
No, I heard about that. No.
He and Anderson, he's so much better live.
Yeah.
He is so much better live. And I'd never seen him perform live. When I met him and recorded on Divine Feminine, That was bad. That was like winter 2015, I think. Yeah, it was like December 2015. And he was in the studio. I was in the studio. He was on some other shit, dude. Like he was just like all over the place.
Right.
The one thing that was very much apparent was his love for people, his accommodation. He was very cordial. He was very fun. He even took a video. We were like recording and he took a video. He was smoking a cig in the studio. He did a face cam, just sitting with the orchestra, puffing, being a goofball. Put that on his Instagram. Like he was just all about it. And doing more studying and listening to his music after that process, I realized this dude, he makes his beats. He like works with producers.
Yeah.
He delegates things, but he writes his own lyrics and stuff. Like, and when he performs, he's a performer. Like, there's just this extra ooze that he puts in his inflection when he's live, when he has eyes on him. And it's just, you can't really replicate that, man. And I'm gonna miss that. And I just wish that, I was on a cruise contract earlier this year for about 4 months. And my dude that got me on Divine Feminine was trying to get me on swimming, but I wasn't in town.
Oh man. Yeah.
So I'm working on a cover right now of 2009 from swimming. Because I want to make it a tribute cover.
Yeah, that'll be really nice.
And just say goodbye and really tell him thank you for all the art he put out and thank you for the people he inspired and the people he will inspire in the future. So always going to be singing Mac Miller's praises.
Yeah.
For sure.
How'd you get connected with him in the first place?
Juilliard, actually. There's a guy who was a Juilliard pianist, jazz pianist. His name's Jahan Sweet. He actually produced on Drake's Scorpion. He's Kehlani's producer. Like he's a genius. He's brilliant. Yeah, he was like there with Wanda and 40 and everything. Yeah.
That's good company.
No, he's nuts. He's nuts. But anyway, he knew Mac. And Mac was like, yo, do you know any string players in New York? Because I'm trying to get some strings on a couple of these tracks. And so Jahan threw my name to the string arranger, Aja Grant. And and so, I kind of got in touch with them and we went to work. We went to work and it was great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, man. It's all who you know, actually. That's the thing about the music industry. Like there are people who are just not that good in the industry that are at the top, but they know how to delegate. They know, and I think that's the biggest. I heard that on a business podcast one time.
Yeah,
about
this one.
Want to grow. Actually, it was actually a classical music entrepreneur podcast.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to be tuning in to this podcast. Thanks for introducing me to it, my friend.
Oh, of course. Well, yeah.
I'm always trying to upgrade. Always trying to learn.
Perfect. All right. Well, this is probably the ultimate upgrade, so you probably have nowhere to go after this one.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
we're very humble as well.
We hit the pinnacle. I'm glad. I made it, Mom. Hi, Mom. Yeah.
Shout out, Mom. One more question on this, and then kind of we'll switch gears a little bit.
Cool.
You've worked with so many different amazing people and so many different types of music and different talented performers kind of all over the place. What's that like, bringing together people and different types of work and different types of careers and types of music? What's that like?
It depends on the people, because you know what, like it doesn't matter where you come from. If you have a collaborative mindset, everything falls together, right? Everything falls together easily. You can let ideas flow. And I think if you don't take anybody seriously and you don't attack anybody seriously, ideas can flow. The best ideas will rise to the top. So even if if you're from working with a fiddler or something, I'm like, if the fiddler is top notch, of course not classical musician, but like they know how to play the violin. They know how to get around the instrument. And so I will take advice from like, how do you move your fingers so fast? Like, oh man, you do that. I was like, my Juilliard teacher never taught me that. I said, yeah, man, you just got to kind of like move your finger like this. I'm like, that's nuts. So when you're collaborating with people, you got to realize like, I can learn so many different things that will re-inform my classical technique, that will re-inform what I already do as a classical musician and a content creator. And if you approach everything as an open mind, like I just realized everybody's an expert in something I don't know. So I just approach things with an open
Huh.
mind. And if people have a preconceived notion about me, I don't spend time trying to change that. I don't spend time trying to make them say, no, I'm cool. I know I'm a classical musician, but I'm cool. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to do my thing. And the ones that are really dope, the people that are really dope, regardless of what they do or their background, like those are always the best collaborations. Always. Always. Like the one that comes to mind right now is one that I did with my friend Albert Chang here in LA. He's the streamer that I was talking about. He's got a channel called Slightly Musical. And back in early 2017, we did a cover of Ed Sheeran's Shape of You.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we
Oh, I
threw it
saw that.
together.
That was
Yeah. Thanks, man. Well, we threw that together in like a week. Like we recorded that thing in 2 days. But we sat in his room and we were just throwing ideas around. And I was like, yo, what if we did this? And he was like, that's not, I like that idea, but let's build upon it. Let's say we did that, but we did it like this. And I was like, oh yeah. But what if we then layered it with this? And he was like, yes. And then, so when you let ideas flow and you're not like, oh, he shot down my idea, or let me shoot down his idea because I want to be important and I want to make. No, if you're just like, let's put this project first and work together, the best work always rises to the top. And it doesn't matter what genre. He didn't go to Juilliard, but like he still kills the violin. He's still a great filmmaker. He's still an incredible content creator.
But you're friends with him even though he plays the violin, because there's some inconsistent stuff here. Yeah, gotcha.
Darn it! It's all up now.
All right, cool. All right, I'm glad we worked that out.
Now, if you're a violinist, we can be friends. It's all good.
Awesome. Okay, I'll need to break mine out. I'll need to find it. It's probably my parents probably have it, but
let's jam, dude.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's go to creativity for a little bit. Yeah. Creativity, it's a common theme that we talk about a lot on this podcast because it comes up so much in business. Mm-hmm. And then in your standpoint, like you have to be creative for a living basically, which I think is fascinating because you're constantly coming up with stuff, whether it be music, whether it be social media, whether it be both, whether it be, video games in your future Twitch stream. Mm-hmm. So first question on that is, what do you do to stay creative?
Yo, this is actually super interesting. So a lot of people, you're actually the first podcaster to ask me this question, but a lot of people ask me in my DMs, like, how do you stay creative? How do you stay motivated? And what I do, I practice, I do my work, I do my emails, whatever I need to do. And then I spend the rest of the day when I'm kind of in writer's block, I just consume other media. I listen to other people's albums. I watch other people's YouTube channels. I watch Netflix and different things. And I'm always coming at it from a scientific perspective. I'm like, I wonder how they did that. I'm enjoying the media. And I think it's important as a content creator to consume modern media and popular media, because then you can give your take, you can drop your 2 cents on whatever is hot right now. So when Game of Thrones drops, like, you best believe I'm gonna watch that thing just with everybody else and like try to figure out how I can relate music to it, or as a personality at least give my opinion, because I think we're now in an opinion driven society. And so if you consume the media and just say, hey, no, I saw it too, like people will be like, oh no, he's cool, like he's one of us. Even though
you know what's going on in the culture.
And all of us do it though. Like that's world culture. Like Netflix and shit, like that's world culture now. Like we're now getting to a point where it's not just separated by country.
Totally.
Black Mirror is not even produced in the United States, and it's still one of the most consumed.
Oh my god. Yeah, I love that. Are you a fan of that?
I love Black Mirror, but I can't watch it too much. Like
it puts you in a weird place.
Yo, dude, I'm like, because it's too real. Like I can watch horror and thriller stuff because I'm like, okay, that's fake. But with Black Mirror, it's like this stuff is actually, I see it happening already.
Yeah. Some of it, that's blown my mind about it, because some of the episodes you can see actually happening within a few years from now. Some of the stuff is like super far advanced and who knows if it'll happen. But some of it is like, whoa. Like I saw something, I forget what I think it was maybe Japan or China.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure, but one of those countries is doing something. They're considering rolling out like a score for everyone, like a
Oh,
sentiment
China,
score, basically. Yeah,
China. Yeah,
China.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They already
And that,
have
like,
it.
yeah, so they
They
already
already
have.
have
Wow,
it.
so that's
Yeah.
great because that was literally a Black Mirror episode where they're like,
Yeah.
like liking people and
Yeah.
upvoting people and stuff. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, what? This is crazy.
Yeah. Yo, what's lit though? You see that's actually happening in Instagram. Like I just got verified
Yeah,
on
I
Instagram.
saw. Yeah, congrats.
Dude, thank you. I just got verified and I had people dropping in my DMs pretending like they've been following me for a long time and then
Oh, everybody
collaborate.
said it, and I don't have it quite yet. Probably a couple more episodes, but I heard that blue check mark really changes things.
Dude, I'm like, I need to start Google searching what happens because like people are just like, hey, this talk has been long overdue. Hi. And like I got composers coming out the woodwork to say, let me
Wow.
write you music.
Yeah. So you got to
And
be
I'm like,
careful.
yo, calm down. I'm busy now, dude. Like, I needed this
Right. Yeah.
3 years ago, man. What are you?
Yeah. It's a
What?
powerful, like, everybody thought Nike's logo was like the most powerful check mark of all time, but now it's like the verified check mark.
That verified check on Instagram in particular. I think Instagram in particular is one of the hardest ones to get.
Yeah. What was that like? Not to go like too far into deal with that, but like, how did you get that? Had you been reaching out to them, or did they find you ultimately?
No, you can request for it. They just back in the end of August, they added a feature to your settings where you can request the check mark.
Oh, nice. All right. Note to self for later in the day.
Yeah. So if y'all think y'all hot out there and you want to get that check mark, go ahead and request it. Go to your settings. It's I think in the first batch of settings. But yeah, you can request it, and you got to just give a government ID to prove it's you and stuff like that. And if you
Gotcha.
have substantial, I think the key is having substantial press and notoriety outside of Instagram.
Right. Yeah. It probably makes sense. All right. Cool. Well, I've got that covered. So cool. All right.
Yeah, boy.
Awesome. Okay. How about you mentioned YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
What are your favorite YouTube channels that you subscribe to?
Oh man, there's so many. Okay, so it depends on like what the type is. So I love Liza Koshy. There's so many people that I watch and listen to from all walks of life, from all different things. But Liza Koshy, I think, is one of the greatest entertainers of our generation. She is so incredibly brilliant, witty, and she makes all of her videos look effortless, but I know she puts so much work into it, and I absolutely adore her for it. Who else? I just recently saw this Shane Dawson documentary on Jake Paul, and so I like the way he really interviews people and like has the ability to disarm people and trust him, and he's a very interesting character on YouTube. I love watching Philip DeFranco, the Philip DeFranco show, like getting my news. I watch a lot of League of Legends, people, watch Fortnite people, watch
Right.
Black Ops people. So Battle Royale genre, of course. I also like this guy named Legal Eagle, who he takes pop culture media and he like a lawyer show or something. He's a lawyer. So he like watches lawyers on TV and he critiques them on like, okay, was that lawful? Like, did they just break the law? Was that perjury? It's just really interesting commentary on shows that I watch.
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, of course, Star Talk Radio.
Right.
There are just so many. I just watch so many different people for different things. I've actually started to get into watching fashion bloggers, men's fashion bloggers on YouTube because I'm trying to upgrade.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think you're a great sort of living example of this. You kind of you can tell that you really practice what you preach because you mentioned earlier how important it is to consume content, especially as a content creator. But like for anyone out there, like you really got to dive into stuff, and all those things you listed are like all your different passion areas and areas of interest. So you're a real student of consuming all this, all these other people and other experts and across different industries. So
the reason why I follow them all for a specific reason, like Legal Eagle in particular was a newer addition to like my rollout because he does criticisms on like popular media as a lawyer. Like who would have thought that a lawyer would have hundreds of thousands of people watching his YouTube channel, right? What?
Right. Yeah.
So that was number one. I was like, what is he doing? And then I saw what he's doing. And I'm like, oh, I could do that for classical music. Like for classical music, or movies where people are playing the violin, or Mozart in the Jungle, like a really popular Amazon Prime, series. I could do something like that, critiquing that. So that got ideas on content that I can create going. I was like, oh, I see that. Liza Koshy, for instance, she is such an incredible comedian. And the way she takes everyday things like adult, she made like a 7-minute video on the 99-cent store. And she made it the most entertaining, hilarious thing I've ever seen. Like,
yeah, it was probably cheap to produce as well, I would imagine.
It was so cheap to produce. She spent 6.5 hours in a 99-cent store just recording jokes. Like, the thing is like, I'm just trying to learn the craft. Like, I think if you want to be an entertainer, I think having a background in improv is important. So I'm interested in improv, and I'm just watching her, and I'm watching David Dobrik, and I'm watching some of these other people who are really making daily content and getting millions of views, because that is the key. If you're getting 4 million views a day on a 4-minute video, you're doing something right.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it doesn't just happen like that.
Yeah.
As powerful as the blue checkmark may be. Shout out Michael Scott or Michael Scarn on the improv. Let's get to a recurring section here on the Wild Business Growth Podcast called the Wild Business Shout Out of the Week.
The Wild Business Shout Out of the Week.
Oh, dope.
So this is something where we cover a recent either marketing campaign or ad or something out there that caught our attention and broke through the clutter and really made us think out there in the world today. So we were talking earlier, there's something that you saw on social media somewhat recently. Can you tell a little bit about that, sort of what it is that you saw and what your reaction to it is?
Yeah, I mean, it was a couple of years ago. It was like a Facebook ad, but it was like a Facebook video, but I didn't know it was an ad. I was just scrolling, this is
right. Yeah.
This might have been in undergrad. This might have been 4 years ago when I was actually using Facebook. Oops, did I say that? What?
Oh, classic millennial there.
It is. So it was this video. It was Asian origin. It was a mostly silent video. It was like maybe 4 minutes long. It was like this drama of like this child and her father. And her father was like a clown. He wouldn't get a big paying job because he spent all of his days, making kids laugh that were sick.
Right.
And he also like made her, and there's like not much dialogue at all. If there is, there are English subtitles, but it's just mostly shown through beautiful cinematic content. And it was very touching. It's very heartwarming. He also instills within, I think he like encourages her to like save money, and she's sad that they're broke, but he's like saying, save money while I'm going to go make these kids' lives better. And so something happens. I think he gets sick or something, and then she gets really sad, but she remembers the jar, and then she goes and she's help. She brings the jar to her dad who's sick, and then he starts laughing, and then he like kind of explains to her that like, yeah, you need to be putting money away. You should spend your life making people's days better, but you should also put money away over time because you never know what could happen. And then I was like, well, it gave me the feels, you know what I mean? And at the end, it was like, it showed like a logo for like an insurance company. And I was like, oh, that was a commercial?
Oh my God. Wow. So they really got you in.
Yeah, they got me emotionally invested. And so what I learned from that was like the power of storytelling. It's so visceral in humans. Like, it doesn't matter what you're trying to sell. If you tell a really good story, you're going to have people's attention. And that was the best lesson I've ever learned.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so powerful. And I think per that example and a lot of the stuff we see these days, a lot of brands are getting really, really, really good at storytelling to the point that you experience firsthand. To the point that you don't even know it's a branded thing or a commercial at first. And so, if an insurance company can do that, how many different other industries and brands can do it? Something to note, though, with that, something that brands have to be careful about, though, is to make sure that the story has at least a good enough fit with their brand, because you don't want to do something that's really heartfelt, and a lot of brands in the Super Bowl get flack for this, like have really emotional stories and basically try to be tear jerkers. And then like the brand pops on the screen and it's like something that has like nothing to do. And it's like
Oreos.
emotional brand.
It's like the fuck?
Exactly. Oreos does have some fantastic branding though.
Yeah, they do.
Let's talk about Super Bowl success, but that's another tangent. But
Doritos,
it's you kind of have to find that. It's kind of a slippery slope as a brand. You kind of have to find that perfect spot where it's a good fit, and you also give people the feels, as you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like you have to figure out how you can tell your story, and I think that's what I loved about this ad was like, yeah, save your money, like do your life, make other people's lives better, but always put a little bit of money away because you never know what could happen. That's life insurance. That's the whole point of life insurance, right? Like it was so perfectly woven into the narrative that it was just it was organic. I was like, this is some next level shit, dude. Like, holy
boom.
Wow. Yeah. So I was a fan of that. But I think I don't think I'm that creative. I don't think I could do it.
I think you're very humble.
Yeah, dude. It's so tough, man. Creating content is like people underestimate it until they try it. And then they're like,
right. It's a lot of work.
Wow. Because then you have to create the content, and if it's good, then you have to figure out how to get it out to people, and then nobody likes it anyway because it's already just the algorithms are shot, and like it's
the algorithms are crazy and always changing, so it's like always this kind of battle. But as long as you stay creative and stay consistent and true to your brand, and maybe be an insurance company, it should bode well for you
with a huge marketing budget. Right. I think the key though
that doesn't hurt. Yeah.
There are a couple of tried and true ways to grow on any social media platform, regardless of the algorithm: consistency and collaboration. Those two I found are common across all platforms. So don't get caught up in the algorithms, guys. That's something that I spent the last year doing. I was just tripping. I was like, why am I losing followers? Number one, it wasn't consistent because I was on a ship, with no Wi-Fi. So that's understandable. And I just have not gotten back to a consistent schedule since. But it's also like I haven't been collaborating with people. And when you collaborate with people, you get a whole new pool of people becoming aware of you. And that's why social media is super huge in that it's word of mouth on steroids.
Right.
So if you get the word of mouth of what you do out to a bunch of people that didn't even know you existed, that's a win. Right.
Right.
So, collaborate.
Totally. And super meta here. That's what we're doing right now.
Yes,
I think that's one of the reasons why podcasts you see in this podcast boom is it's like collaboration on steroids as well. Because I mean, our show, for example, I'm collaborating with someone every single episode. So it's like, there's so much opportunity for that. It's crazy.
Yes, dude.
All right. So let's gear down here. Let's wrap up last segment here with rapid fire Q&A.
Oh, snap. Okay. Yes.
Oh, snap. All right. Snap, crackle, pop. Okay. Your favorite music artist of all time?
I'll just say right now, Childish Gambino.
Yeah. He's doing some incredible things.
Yeah. No, he's the reason why I started rapping.
He's like the ultimate Renaissance man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Renaissance man with the Hollywood swag. That's like a
exactly. That's kind of you as well.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem.
I just want to be him. Can I just be him?
Yeah. All right. How about in your short experience so far, East Coast versus West Coast?
I'm still East Coast, man. In my heart, because I value the product too much.
Right. Yeah.
I value the work and the hustle and that, like, I'm still New York. I'm just New York and LA, dude. I'm New York grind. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. As we speak, what's your favorite show to binge watch?
I have not binge watched because I've been working really hard. I've not been binge watching. The last show I really binge watched really hard, the last show I did was How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
I absolutely adored
classic,
that. That, oh my God, dude. That was nuts. It changed my life. I love that show, dude. So good.
Yeah.
The ending sucked, though.
Ooh, little
shade.
little jab there. Okay. How about a throwback with the music? Who's your favorite classical composer of all time?
Johannes Brahms.
Me too. I think I'm gonna go with that.
Brahms is lit. If you don't know
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Brahms, listen to his chamber music. He was probably one of the greatest writers of chamber music in history.
There you go. You have the first chamber music reference in the history of our podcast.
Oh
Congratulations.
yes. All right, cool.
Perfect. Okay. Biggest pet peeve or one that comes to mind?
Recently, when people want to collaborate with me and they want me to do something for them, but they don't even consider what they can bring, how they can bring value to me.
Oh yeah.
And that's really annoying, because it tends to be people who have a lot of followers or whatever, but they only have like 65 posts and they just started following me like 14 minutes ago, and they're like, hey, let's collaborate. You want to do shout out for shout out? I'm like, first of all, yo, who are you?
Right.
Like, yeah, it's just people like really that run up to you and try to take.
Yeah.
Run up to you
No,
and
it's
literally don't even pass
so
go,
common.
don't even say hi, just
Yeah.
try to take. And that really, it's annoying now because like I want to help and I want to collaborate, but like if you're just saying, if you don't really come to me with something, like now I got to figure out how I'm going to get value from this. You know, I don't like parasites, man. I don't like
yeah.
Yeah,
The value is so important. You can't say it enough. It's such a bad look when people aren't providing that and asking for something. Last question here. What's your favorite social media platform right now?
Instagram.
Boom. There you have it. Yeah. Instagram's a beast.
Yeah. It has been since 2013, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're an early adopter ish.
I guess. I thought I was late when I joined Instagram, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, people are just joining now. I mean,
yeah, I guess so. I guess you're right, man.
Yeah.
I just thought like, I was late to Instagram thing, and I was like, YouTube's gonna crush everybody. But YouTube's a staple, yes, but it's
Yeah.
not the juggernaut it used to be.
It's different. Yeah, it's different
It's
as far as
different.
connecting with people, but as far as content, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, I know.
Awesome. Cool. So that was rapid fire Q&A. Hope that wasn't too much and
It was so hard.
helped out your sniffles a little bit.
I'm hurt.
But ThatViolaKid, DVK, I just want to thank you so much, man, for taking time out of your day, out of your beautiful morning here to come on the Wild Business Growth Podcast. It's been absolutely amazing chatting with you, and I'm just blown away by your stories. I can't wait to share it out with our audience. I'm sure our listeners will enjoy it as well.
Thanks, man.
Thanks again for coming on, dude. We're pulling for you all the way and excited to see all the content and your new Twitch channel whenever you get that rolling.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to do it. Thank you for willing to collaborate with me.
Of course.
Right, it's going down in the DMs, dude.
It is. That song is so true. But where is the best way for people to connect with you on social media or your website or whatever you want to shout out?
Okay, you can find me anywhere at all except Snapchat. At ThatViolaKid. ThatViolaKid.com, Spotify. Definitely check out my recent single that I just dropped called Duality. I think it's a little bit different. It's hip hop, but it's a little bit of classical sprinkled in there. And it's a little autobiographical as well. It's my debut single, so I tell my story there. Definitely follow me on Instagram and YouTube. And, follow me on Twitch if you're in that ecosystem as well.
Perfect. And I can vouch for your single. I watched your video and it's folks out there, it's like nothing you've ever seen before. I think what you're doing is in such a unique and really powerful space. So
thank you.
Kudos to
Thank
you.
So much. I appreciate it.
All right. Before we sign off here, I want to hand the stage to you. The stage is yours. What final thoughts do you want to wrap up with? And you can take us home.
I think I'm going to copy Gary Vee again because apparently I don't have thoughts of my own.
He's getting in everyone's head. That's why he's so
Dude,
powerful.
I mean, he just changed the way I think about things.
Yeah.
Life is indeed long, and it's really hard now because, being an entrepreneur is really sexy. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody has their own merchandise. Everybody has their own website. Everybody has their own podcast, their own YouTube channel, their own Snapchat, their own Instagram. So how do you compete, right? Consistency and patience. And that's something that I'm totally learning. Like, people are blown away by what I've done in 5 years. I was prepared to do it in 10. I was prepared to do it in 15.
Right.
So just, the one thing that I've learned is, like, the moment that you're about to give up could have been the moment that you were going to finally break it. So be patient. And that's something that I'm going to continue to do as well.
You said it. All right. That Viola Kid, hashtag play homie play.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That was That Viola Kid. Go check him out and check out his killer hashtag, Play Homie Play, on Instagram. He's really created a movement there. Thank you so much to That Viola Kid for recording this podcast, even with your sniffles. We hope by now you are feeling better. And we even would love to see a video of you playing that badass viola of yours with a stuffed nose. All you listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of the Wild Business Growth Podcast. Go out and buy a viola. Extra credit goes to any of you out there who are waiting in line to buy your viola and you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes/Apple Podcasts. Make sure to connect with us at Hippo Direct on all your favorite social media sites like the Facebook and Insta. Once again, I am your host, Max Brandstetter. You can find me on all those platforms as well. If you're craving some creative inspiration, sign up for the Hippo Digest at hippodirect.com/newsletter. We curate the coolest and most badass marketing campaigns from around the web every single week. That's all for this edition. Hasta la vista. Let your business run wild.
Bring on the bongos!